Welcome to this video on eTapestry, who uses it, and why you should consider it for your organization. I appreciate your interest in this topic and thank you for watching. My name is Jessie. I'm a consultant at Sidekick Solutions. At Sidekick Solutions, we help new and existing users get the most out of eTapestry. We take on the heavy lifting so you can spend more time doing what matters most to you. In this video today, we are going to cover what eTapestry is and who uses it. We are going to talk through the core features in eTapestry that make it a great fundraising and donor management software. And then we will provide some of our tips and tricks on assessing software options, what you should be looking for when you are assessing software, whether it be a fundraising and donor management system or another software platform that your organization is considering. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So Blackbaud eTapestry is an all-in-one fundraising and donor management system for growing nonprofits. What this means is that eTapestry offers a variety of features, including it serves as your donor database and constituent relationship management system. It provides you with dashboards and custom reporting. There's built-in marketing tools to help you with online giving, and even integrated payment processing. So eTapestry really is kind of that all-in-one fundraising solution for a lot of different types of organizations. So whether you are a small growing nonprofit, maybe you're a mid-sized organization, or a larger organization with 50,000 or more constituents, eTapestry could be a good fit for your organization. It's an easily scalable platform with a lot of features that can accomplish any fundraising strategy. So whether your organization needs help with memberships, maybe you do a lot of online giving, or you need direct mail and email help, there are a lot of fundraising strategies and functionality in eTapestry that can be used to accommodate these different types of fundraising vehicles and fundraising channels that your organization may use. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these, and we're going to kind of cover the 5 top eTapestry features and what those look like. So let's go ahead and talk about the first one, which is eTapestry is a full constituent relationship management platform. What this means, and we're actually going to hop over to eTapestry here. I'm going to move myself out of the way. So this is our sandbox, by the way, so you will see fictitious information here. So what this means is that, we actually want his real name, so we want Bruce Wayne. What this really means is that eTapestry tracks all constituent information. So you have information that we're tracking at the constituent level, which is phone number, email address, mailing address, different attributes and ways that you want to segment your constituent database. But on the other hand, eTapestry also tracks all of your engagement with an individual. So if this individual has given to your organization, or maybe you want to add some notes because they attended an event, or they were solicited for a donation, all of this information is tracked in what's called the journal. So the journal is kind of like that history timeline of what engagement this constituent has had with your organization. Now, in addition to this, eTapestry makes it very easy to enter new data. So the entry screens in eTapestry, we'll give an example here, are very straightforward, very clean, easy for any user to really hop in and take a look at, entering a gift. It's very straightforward. So very user-friendly platform, very easy way to enter data in the system, whether it be interaction activities, so donations, meetings, email records, things like that, or maybe it is that account level information. It's someone's contact information. eTapestry makes it very easy to track all of that data for that individual in a single account record. You're not having to go separate places to see their journal activity versus their account information. You can see it all in the same constituent record in eTapestry. Now, the second feature in eTapestry that we want to talk about today is the simple website integration and payment processing. So you might be wondering, okay, what does this exactly mean? So in eTapestry, payment processing, having integrated payment processing, the main benefit of this is that if you have recurring gifts or you get pledges from your organization, having an integrated payment processor means that once the credit card is put on file for that recurring gift or that pledge, you can set up a schedule, and the installments for that recurring gift or that pledge will process automatically based on that schedule that you set up. So for the recurring gift, let's say it's a monthly recurring gift, each month eTapestry will automatically process that recurring gift and the donor will be charged and you won't have to do any manual entry for that. So that's a huge time saver in terms of data entry, in terms of having to reach out to the constituent on a monthly basis and get their payment information. It's all integrated, it's all in the system, and it's something that you can kind of set and forget and not really have to think about it. The other big benefit of the integrated payment processing is that in eTapestry, you can do DIY forms. So a DIY form in eTapestry, variety of different ways you can set them up. It could be for online giving, perhaps it's a contact page, volunteer, event registration, membership, lots of options there. But with the integrated payment processing, if someone submits a donation through an online giving page, you will get that donation. It'll automatically be processed and the gift will be created in eTapestry. So again, no data entry on your part, no having to reach out to the donor to get their payment information. It's all going to be processed through that online donation form and that integrated payment processor with eTapestry. So let's talk a little bit about what that process actually looks like. So if you're using an integrated payment processor and an online form through eTapestry, once the individual submits the form for their donation, first a duplicate check is performed. So it tries to find an existing constituent in eTapestry. If one isn't found, then it would actually create a new constituent. And then it'll actually append that gift to the founder created constituent. So if it finds an account, it's going to create the gift on that individual's journal. If it doesn't find an account, it's going to create a new one and then add the gift to that new account. Next, with that integrated payment processing, as soon as you snap your fingers, that payment processor is going to go ahead and process the credit card for that donation. The donor is going to get a confirmation email letting them know, thank you so much for your donation. We appreciate your patronage at our organization. And then you can also set up that someone at your organization gets a confirmation email as well, so that you get that real-time notification of someone just made a donation through an online form. Do we want to acknowledge it? Do we need to acknowledge them? Was it a major gift? Maybe we want to call them and thank them for their donation. So you can see how this integration between the online giving forms and the payment processor in eTapestry really saves you time and effort, because you're kind of skipping over the data entry piece and it's processing everything automatically without you having to trigger anything with a payment processor. Now, the next feature in eTapestry that I want to touch on is the free and open API. So API is a term that maybe you've heard here and there, and what it really stands for is Application Programming Interface. Again, that's a really kind of fancy term for saying it is a block of code that allows developers to access your data in eTapestry so that they can integrate it with another software application that you are using. So APIs are becoming a lot more common in the software space for both for-profit organizations and nonprofits, because everybody across the board is looking to integrate software. They want to save time and effort, reduce duplicate data entry in multiple systems, reduce the need for exports and imports to get data from one system to the other, and the API is the solution for that. So eTapestry's API is completely free to use, but as I mentioned, this typically is a block of code that is accessed by a developer, so someone with technical programming knowledge. So often this would require your organization to engage with a developer or someone who is familiar with working with APIs and integrating different platforms. But with the API, customizations are limitless. So it essentially makes eTapestry extensible. You can connect eTapestry to any other application or almost any other application the organization is using, pending that other application has an API as well. So it really makes it an extensible platform. Now, at Sidekick Solutions, we have developed what we call our API wrapper. It's essentially a piece of software that makes it a lot easier to access the eTapestry API in your eTapestry database. So we've made it easier and more user-friendly for nonprofits using the eTapestry system to be able to integrate it with other applications. So using a platform called Zapier, we actually can connect your eTapestry database to other applications you might be using, such as QuickBooks, Shopify, Eventbrite, MailChimp, PayPal, the list is very long, as Zapier actually connects to over, it says 1,500 actually on the slide, but I believe it's now closer to 2,000 other applications. So you can see how you could take eTapestry and then also have, the quote unquote best in the business for other software applications and integrate them together instead of trying to find an all-in-one solution, which doesn't typically exist. It's usually you're getting more in some features in one system and less in others, or vice versa. So being able to integrate eTapestry with other applications that you're already using that are best in class in their field will help not only allow your organization to use the best software and the best tools possible, but also to integrate those tools so you're not having to do, duplicate data entry or spend time, as I said, doing exports and imports on a periodic basis. Really saves you time, saves you effort, and automates that process. So definitely something to keep in mind. If you're interested in integrating your eTapestry database with other applications you might be using, reach out to us at Sidekick Solutions. We're happy to talk through what your options are for that. So after the free and open API, the next eTapestry feature that really is a big selling point is the administrator control of data. So control of data is something that we hear all the time from our clients. They want to be able to update their records, manage their data, and really have complete control over their system. So there's a few features in eTapestry that I want to touch on that actually allow you to do this. So the first one is queries and reporting. So queries and reports in eTapestry really work together, and I've just gone to just the queries page here, and I'm going to just open a query. So a query is a way to segment your records in eTapestry. So instead of saying, I'm going to run this report for all of my constituents, a query is a way to say, okay, so I have all of these records in my database. Let's filter it down so we're only reporting on a certain segment of that. So a query is a way to segment or filter your records so that when you pull a report, you're not having to pull a report for everyone and then manually filter it in Excel. You're able to go ahead and pre-filter it so then your report only has the records that you want to see. So a query allows you to really identify that criteria of, this one is donors who gave last year. So we want donors who have a gift with a received amount greater than 0 and a journal entry date. We've defined that up here as last year. So you can see how queries really kind of help you filter or segment your data down, and then using reports, you can select what data for those records that are in that query you want to export from your database or you want to view. So queries and reports, great tool. It actually is a more advanced reporting functionality than you will see in a lot of constituent relationship management systems. So the query and report feature in eTapestry really is a big win. There are a couple other administrator functions that a lot of organizations will really like. The first one is import. The import feature in eTapestry really allows you to perform a lot of different functions. So you can see the different import types right here where you can not only create accounts, but you can create gifts, notes, contacts, mass interactions, recurring gift schedules. So using the import process in eTapestry, you can create a lot of different types of records. But one of the underutilized features of an import is that you also can do mass edits via an import in eTapestry as well. So if you need to clean up your salutations in bulk, maybe you've changed your data entry rules and how you want your salutations to be formatted, you can export your constituent data and then re-import it and essentially overwrite the data that was in there. So that's a great tool. I would say do that with a bit of caution and really understanding the import process, as you don't want to overwrite or accidentally delete data that you didn't want removed. But it is a great tool for that. Another great option for updating records in bulk is eTapestry has a mass update feature. So this feature allows you to update existing records or create new records based off of a query. So again, that query is a way to filter or segment our database, and eTapestry allows you to then take that pre-filtered set of results and either update certain records for them or create new. So with mass updates, you can assign new values or remove values. So you can see how that can be a really helpful tool if for a series of accounts, you need to assign a certain constituent user defined field value. Maybe you need to flag all of these accounts as a board member, or maybe a former board member. You can do that in batch using mass updates instead of having to go into those accounts one by one and manually update that information. And then the last feature that for administrator control of data that's really important to touch on is that eTapestry has an NCOA update service called Address Finder. So this is a way to standardize and update your United States mailing addresses to United States Postal Service standards. So with Address Finder, your subscription will typically identify how many runs per year you're allowed, or in your subscription year, you're allowed to run Address Finder, and you can always view that right here in your eTapestry database. But Address Finder will let you know if an address was standardized by the Address Finder run, if a move was identified and they were able to update the address, meaning that the Postal Service had a forwarding address. Maybe they know that the address changed, but they don't have a forwarding address. And it will even flag invalid addresses for you, which is typically addresses that are incomplete. So it has a city, state, and zip, but doesn't have actual street address information. So a really great tool to keep in mind with that administrator control of data that allows you to keep the data quality of your contact information really high in eTapestry. So the last feature in eTapestry that I want to touch on is custom fields and coding. So custom fields and coding in eTapestry are a huge win because every organization does things a little bit differently. No system is going to meet your needs absolutely perfectly. If you find one, please let us know. But most of the time, you're taking the system that most closely aligns with what your organization needs, and then you use the customization available and the flexibility in that system to really make it work for you. And so in eTapestry, the custom fields and coding are where you accomplish this. So using user-defined fields, which are what custom fields in eTapestry are called, you can segment your data in a lot of different ways and track a variety of information. So you can segment your constituents, you can track volunteers, you can track grant activity, prospect activity, event management, membership information. You can see how creating custom fields, you can really take the base eTapestry system and expand it so that it fits your organization's needs. Because as I said, no system is going to be perfect and is going to have absolutely everything that your organization needs. It's usually you find the system that either has 90% of what you need and you manually handle the other 10%, or you find the system that allows you the flexibility so that you can truly build a system that works for your organization and develop workflows that minimize data entry so that you are only having to enter the minimum amount of data while still having all of that segmentation information that you need for your queries and your reports. So being able to set up user-defined fields in eTapestry is a really easy process. We're just going to go again to this management page and we're going to go to user-defined fields. And once we're in user-defined fields, it's very easy to just create a new field and it'll follow you through the steps to select the different types of fields. And the different fields, I'm just going to create a test one here so I can show you this information. You can select what record that user-defined field applies to. So is this a record that you want or a value that you want to track on the constituent level? Maybe it's a way that you want to segment your gifts, so you'd apply that to transactions. Or maybe it's a different type of information that you want to track for different non-transaction related activity that's typically tracked in journal contacts. So you can see how you can choose where you're going to track that information. And once you select that, I'm actually going to go down here to the display type, you can choose whether you're going to make it a multi-select field, a single select field, or a text box or a note field that allow you to freeform that information. So you can really customize these fields so that they work for you. Now, if this is a field that you are hoping to query and report on really easily, then I would encourage you to make the field either a multi-select or a single select field, as it will be a lot easier for you to then query and report on that information. Querying and reporting on freeform text fields, whether it's a text box or a note field, is much more complex and difficult, as spelling errors can occur when someone's entering a note, and then it won't pull into your query or report. So if it's a field that you want to be able to query or report on easily, definitely make sure to make it a multi-select or a single select field. Now in eTapestry, there's also a way to segment your gifts a lot easier, and that's using fund campaigns and approaches. So under donation strategies right here, we can choose to add new campaigns. Oh, it's gonna make me finish here first. Oop, let's go back to, okay. force add a value. Yes, there we go. Again, this is our sandbox, so don't worry. I will go ahead and take care of that placeholder that we just created there. But if we are looking at funds, campaigns, and approaches, again, management, donation strategies right here, and then we're just going to go to campaigns. And it's so easy to add a new campaign. So funds, campaigns, and approaches are really what you use to segment your gifts. And to add new values, it's as simple as clicking, oops, I accidentally clicked show disabled values. We actually want to click new campaign. So it's as simple as clicking new campaign and entering your new campaign value. And so you can see that adds to our list. So the funds, campaigns, and approaches on the gift entry screen are the primary way to segment your gifts in eTapestry. So you can select the fund, which is the purpose for the funds. What are they to be used for your organization? You can select that campaign of, okay, what is the program or area of focus within that or the overarching effort that was used to bring in these funds. So we're going to say this was annual campaign. And then you can select the approach, which is the vehicle or the method that brought in the solicitation. So this one, we're going to say this was actually an unsolicited donation. So you can see how then these fund, campaign, and approach records make it very easy for us to query and report on this information and really pull out, okay, this is the data that we want. These are the transactions that we want. So very important to then continue using that information. So let's go ahead and talk about now kind of those tips on what you should consider when you are considering a constituent relationship or other type of software. The first step, especially if you're looking at a constituent relationship management, is define your fundraising strategy. So what are those features that you need out of a system? Are you tracking memberships? Do you need custom reporting? Are you tracking grants? What are those different strategies that your organization uses? And create that list of kind of your dream list, of your wish list. What is everything that you absolutely need? Because this list is going to really help you in steps 2 and 3 here, because it's going to really help whomever you're talking to about their software identify whether that software is a fit for you. And that's where step 2 comes in. Step 2 is to sign up for a demonstration. Any software application and any salesperson should be willing to provide you with a demonstration of their software. They should show you how it works. They should show you what the functionality looks like for those key features that you identified in step 1. What are those features that you absolutely need in a system? They should be able to illustrate either how the system has those pre-built or how the system can be customized to accommodate those needs that you have. And then step 3 is to solicit peer reviews and references. This really is, often thought of as a no-brainer, but is a step that we often forget about, which is ask any software that you're considering, ask them for references. Talk to the individuals who actually use the system day in and day out. What do they like about the system? What do they wish the system had that it doesn't? What do they wish they would have known when they first signed up for the system? So very important, keep that in mind. These 3 tips when you're assessing any software option, very important, very helpful. Can't really stress enough, actually, point number 1, which is before you start analyzing different software options, know what your make and break features are. What do you absolutely have to have? What's your nice to have, but if the system doesn't have it, it's not the end of the world. Having that defined before you go into those conversations will be really helpful and help, steer the conversation toward whether that system will really work for your organization or not. So that's what we had to cover today. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you want to learn more about eTapestry, you can always visit our blog at sidekicksolutions.llc.com/eTapestry. We have a lot of great resources on eTapestry, queries and reports, best practices, integrations. So a lot of great blog posts there. Go ahead and take a look. Lots of great, useful educational information there as well. If you like our approach to eTapestry, send us an email at info@sidekicksolutions.llc.com. Our door is always open, and we would love to help your organization. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great day.